Friends who all are watching this live on the Facebook, we welcome you to this online discussion with Leena Manimekalai. Suchitra Film Society uh, is having a 1 year event to to say that this is the 50th year of the from the inception of Suchitra Film Society. 1971 we started Suchitra Film Society, and now on August 28th, 2020, we have crossed 49 and we're going to be 50 in 2021. So we are conducting a year-long event. Last week we had 8 short films made by women filmmakers, and I think most of you who are watching this live have also watched the online discussion we had with 3 or 4 of the filmmakers who participated in that festival. And today we have Leena Manimekalai. She had provided us 2 of her films, of course, with the help of Deepu of Pedestrian Pictures. We thank Deepu and the crew of Pedestrian Pictures for contacting Leena and providing us the film. And this film was played on through Vimeo on our website. I think we have more than 400 people who have watched till now. It's a very vague calculation. Leena is one of the leading filmmakers today, as I understand. And since 2002 to now, she has almost finished 12 of her films. Starting her career as an assistant director, she has tried to work with various kinds of various genres of filmmaking, and later she has become an independent filmmaker herself. Uh, Leena's first film was called as Mathamma, which is a documentary film on devoting girl children to a deity. And later on, she did another film called Parai, which talks about violence against Dalit women. And then Break the Shackles, which talks about the effects of globalization on rural India, rather village and the village setting, all those things. Then the film on Love Last, it's about the changing relationships in the urban space. And Connecting Lines talks about the lives of 4 students, 4 protagonists there, 2 from India and 2 from Germany. It views through these lives of these 4 students. And in this film, till then, all her films were more of a activist kind of a film. Through this film, Connecting Lines, Leena Manimekalai shifted to artistic filmmaking, though the line is very thin between an activism and artistic thing. Anything that is called as an art is basically a kind of protest. Even if somebody is talking of Radha and Krishna through their art, it is also a kind of protest, and it is talking about what they do not have. Maybe they have lost love or something like that. And then she made another film called Waves After Waves, which talks about the rejuvenating the lives of children who were affected by the tsunami. Specifically in one specific village of Tamil Nadu, I forget the name of the village. And then she made another film called Altar. It was a documentary on child marriage, which is specific to one of the Naikar communities of Tamil Nadu. And then she made another film called A Hole in the Bucket, which talks about the issues regarding water. The crisis of water is very big in Chennai, and A Hole in the Bucket talks about the issues around water, specifically the dynamics of water crisis in Chennai. And then she made another film called Goddesses, which follows 3 extraordinary women. One is a fisherwoman, another is a grave digger, another is a singer in the graveyard. all three women are discussed in this film called Goddesses. Then, of course, what we have seen, uh, Sengadal, which was done in 2011, and White Van Stories, which was done somewhere in 2015 or 16. And she has also done one more film called Malati, which was screened in Busan Film Festival last year. And she's one of the most important filmmakers in that sense that she is all her films talk of contemporary issues, are not just women. She has also been an activist with regard to LGBT rights, various things she has been trying to do. Though an engineer by academic learning, she has taken up filmmaking, and she is using film as a tool to talk about the difficulties and distresses of displaced people and distressed people. So Leena is, for me, is more an activist than an artist. Though art and activism always go together in parallel lines, and they are always together. Yeah. So I welcome Leena once again to Suchitra Film Society at this juncture where we are conducting our 50th year Suvarna Sambrama. I welcome Leena, and I also welcome Deepa Ganesh. Deepa Ganesh is well known to the family of Suchitra. She is one of the executive committee members. She has been handling all literary events and Sahitya Sanjay events in and today Deepa is also one of the most important journalists. She works for the daily The Hindu from Bangalore. She has been writing extensively on various people. Uh, her articles on uh, on DM Krishna, or on Girish Karnad, who passed away last year. All these were so very sensitive, and they were all most of the times eye openers. So many things which we did not know, we learned from Deepa's articles. And so there are two activists here today. One is Deepa and the other one is Leena. Deepa has an issue of power in her house. So she is being looked at through her mobile phone. And Deepa, you have to switch on your mic, and then you can start questioning and talking to Leena Manimekalai. You have to switch on your audio mic. There should be on your mobile phone, there should be an icon which says, yeah.
Is it okay? Yeah.
Yes, yes, you're audible now. You can talk to Deepa on both the films that we have screened, Sengadal and White Van Stories. Yes.
Thanks, Suresh. That was a very generous introduction. And welcome to Leena for this event that's part of our 50th year celebrations at Suchitra. In fact, it's a matter of great serendipity and happiness that our first two events, the first was an event with short filmmakers, all by women, and the second is Leena Manimekalai's films. Both events have been around women, a space that one is continuously negotiating for. Secondly, I salute the daring and courage of Leena Manimekalai to be the voice of truth, really under assault, talking today. Welcome, Leena. We are very happy to have you.
Thank you, Suchitra. Thank you, Comrade Suresha. Thank you, Deepu. Where is Deepu? Thank you, everyone, for making me part of your Golden Jubilee celebration. This is really like, a celebrating time. It's a celebratory time, and I'm really honored to be the second, event in the Golden Jubilee celebration. And I've heard about those films, short films made by women. It's a fantastic, bouquet of films, and congratulations for the filmmakers. And yes, I mean, Singadal was made in 2011, and White One Stories are like, it's made in 2013, but it got the world premiere in 2015. I think it's been like, you know, a lifetime after those two films. But unfortunately, the issue is still alive.
Yeah.
Like, we have Rajapaksa back in the presidency in Sri Lanka. And, you know, when you see White Man Stories, you will know like what he has done to the both the Sinhalese, I mean, secular radical Sinhalese and Tamils throughout the, you know, history of Sri Lanka. So, you know, Rajapaksa is back, and the fishermen lives and refugee lives in Dhanushkodi and Rameshwaram, it's actually the same. They say like 2009 war is over, but the plight of these people are still the same. You know, maybe the Rajapaksa has come like after the second time, and there was somebody in between, but still the governments changed, everything changed, but the plights and the totalitarian approach of Sri Lankan government is the same. The status of Tamils are the same. They say the war is over, but war is not over. Still, justice is done. Still, there is peace. Still, there is reconciliation. So, if all this is not done, war is not over. So they say that we finished LTTs, but like what is happening with people? So the question remains the same. It is still burning. Maybe I think it is my, you know, it's like one lifetime after I finished the film, because after that I did Is It Too Much to Ask? Like that's a film on two trans women. And after that, like I did My Mirror is the Door. That's again a poetry film on, you know, Tamil women poets, because I'm also a published poet. So I was trying to trace my four mothers in Tamil poetry, because we had like 46 women writing poetry in Sangam age. So I did a film on that. And, you know, and then I was doing this Madati that was like, I finished in 2019 and it got a world premiere last year in Busan. So it took like 3 years of my time, because it's my first pure fiction. Sengadal is a docufiction, and White Man Stories is a documentary feature. And Is It Too Much to Ask is a mockumentary. And I like, you know, working across genres and lens. And Madati is a pure fiction. It's like a folkloric Tamil cinema. Again, it is made with the real people, the Pudurai Vannas, the invisibilized Dalits among Dalits. Like, you know, they form the bottommost, you know, layer of the caste system. So I worked with Pudurai Vannas to make this film. But it's pure fiction, like completely. I made it like a, you know, folk mystery fiction genre. So yes, I mean, we've been making films like Suresha Comrade said, like, you know, list of films I've made, but like what is happening is like, it's happening, like, you know, it's our intervention has to be even more powerful to, you know, especially in these times, like where we have this fascist government in the center. And like, you know, I think with all the censorship and with all this regime going on, with all this, you know, it is like a circus. The whole right-wing government is, you know, heading this country towards darkness. So in this, like, I think I mean, artists or activists, like whatever name you call, we do this to intervene. We do this to, you know, have a dialogue with our own society. And we do this to self-reflect. What am I doing? You know, I mean, what is my purpose of being here in the middle of this much chaos, pain, and disasters? Like, you know, these are the main things like that drives me to, you know, do more and more and keep making films, though nobody, I mean, there are very few who watch my films, but still, like, we keep doing it because it gives a sense of, you know, purpose in your life. And, you know, and this is a very small introduction, and I will take more questions from you. And Film Society, yes, I am somebody who is like a very Film Society, you know, product, because I didn't go to a film school. I didn't work as an assistant with many people. Like, I mean, I work as an assistant with one filmmaker, and I leave the person in like 1 month, 2 months. Like I've always been a misfit in the industry. So I was never successful as an assistant director. I was like always branded like, you know, a misfit. So I took independent filmmaking like every misfit does. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, I mean, film societies and film festivals are where I went. I didn't go to film school. I didn't go to any industry environment to teach myself. My people taught me filmmaking. My people taught me how to write. And my people taught me, like, you know, I work with my communities to make films. And I was just a tool. Like every film I made, I was just a tool. And I was trying to, you know, make my people talk through the film. And I was there facilitating. So when they say like I'm an author and all, I feel very embarrassed because like I share my authorship with my people. So that's where I learned everything. So I owe a lot to all the communities whom I work with, like refugees, like fishermen, like, you know, Dalit communities, women, LGBT. Like this is the way I learn life. I mean, this is the way I also unlearn things, because all our school system, education, universities, it's all a waste. So how do you like unlearn those things? Like you've been like, you know, doing such a waste of life for like some 18 years. And then like you don't know where to leave all this baggage. Like there's so much of baggage. So you just like, you know, start going to the streets, meet people and talk to them and become one of them, and try to learn like what life is. So that is my journey. I think if you let me talk, keep talking. So I'll take questions.
And
No, that's the intention
Deepa waits
anyway,
for
to
your
keep
full
you.
stop to talk. Yes, Deepa,
Uh,
there are two questions
actually,
already. You
yeah.
can go to the chat section and check on the questions, Deepa, and you can ask for them, or if in case you miss, I will intervene and I'll put the questions.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Leena, I just love the way you put us all into discomfort. I love the way you kind of question everything that's formal, quote unquote. So my first question, I think we are going to keep it around Sengadal and White Van stories because that's the films that have been screened. Um, both your films are a way of showing solidarity to fellow human beings, your rage against injustice. Um, but this may have been a very lonely journey for you in more than one way. Can you talk about the journey that led you to Sri Lanka, Leena?
Yeah. Sengadal is my, first intervention, with what the ethnic minorities, the Tamils, face in Sri Lanka, in the land of totalitarian, Buddhist, fascist government. If you grow up as a Tamil, the civil war which is going on in Sri Lanka, you cannot remain unaffected by it because you grow up with that. Like, you know, as a child, I have gone with my father to a protest, against Sri Lankan government and for Elam and for the self-determination of Tamil community. So I grew up with that. I lived in Trichy. I did my high school, and my first boyfriend was a refugee. So, like you cannot live without, being touched by the Sri Lankan issue. Like it's like seeing yourself in the mirror. It's very like, it's happening around you. So, and Broken Palmyra is the first, serious book I read about the, ethnic conflict, and, that is something very close to my heart, the whole thing. And as a Tamil, and as someone who writes in Tamil, and as a poet, and there are like this millions of Tamils who are fighting for their own land, and they've been treated like, not even inhuman, I would say inhuman. And the whole thing was affecting me. And in 2009, when the whole war reached its peak, So we were all on the streets protesting, like writers, poets, like activists in Tamil Nadu. We were all on the streets. And that's when I got in touch with the fishermen community. Until then, it was all only newspapers. You read in the newspapers, like, the fishermen in the Ramanathapuram district, they go to the Park Strait and they get shot by the Navy, and the refugees land in Arichanmunai, and most of them come dead, and few of them get rejected, and few of them get, accepted. But what is happening to these people? These people were always counted as statistics. They are not statistics. They had a life before that, they had a life after that. So what is happening to them? So that was my very question. So I wanted to really go and see, other than reading the book or newspapers or, listening to all this interviews in the media. So in 2000, when 2009 happened, we all felt very demoralized, very hopeless, and because civilians were shot, civilians were bombed, and hospitals were bombed, schools were bombed. Around, I think 100,000 people were gone. They're just gone. They were just, you can't see them. They're dead. So it gave a lot of sense of, hopelessness, frustration, because very powerless. Though we can write, we make films, but what else? We are not able to do anything. We are not able to stop someone from dying. So it was a very painful time. And then that's when I got in touch with the fishermen community, and I went to Dhanushkodi, and I almost lived there for a year. I wrote the script with the communities. And then in 2010, I made the film, and 2011, it got premiered. It was lonely because seeing that politics creates about what is happening in Sri Lanka, or what is happening with refugees here, or what is happening with fishermen here is completely, it's a lie. It's a fiction. It is something they create that they want you to believe, but it's not true. When you go there, what you find, the truth you find, is totally different from what you hear and what you read and what you believed so far. Yeah. So when I went to Dhanushkodi, when I went to people, met refugees, met fishermen. Refugees is from Mandapam community. I found a truth that I wanted to share with the world, and that's how Sengadal was made. And nobody see, I was there with people. When you are with the people, you're not with any of the political parties who are capitalizing the Edam issue. You're not with the Indian government. You're not with the Sri Lankan government. Yeah. You're not with the anybody who wants to create their own narrative of what's happening in Sri Lanka, or with the fishermen. So, and you are constantly being intimidated by the authority, like naval force, Q branch, crime branch, police. You're and the politicians of that district, Ramanathapuram district. So nobody wants you to make this film. Yeah. Nobody wants you to make this film. Yeah. But you have found something which you want to share with the world. So how do you do that? So I either have to write. I have written a lot about the whole, experience and whatever. And I also wanted to use film, because that is something which I have discovered in my life, to communicate with people, transcending language, transcending cultures, transcending borders, transcending everything. So with the film, I was able to travel across the world, and not just with the film festivals. I went on a crowdsourced trekking, screening trek, where you just backpack and go and screen your film across the museums, universities, film festivals, with a group of friends. I did some 100 screenings across the world. So I just went with few dollars, and I could do that because there is a couch in every city in this world, that artist and activist will share with me. So
Yeah.
that is there is somebody in Detroit who will watch Sengadal and say like, this is exactly what is happening in Senegal. This is exactly what is happening with our people in, East Europe. So this is how this is something, it's a magic door where, when you talk, who are Tamils? Where is Sri Lanka? The questions start from there. So then you show the film, then you show the map, then you show then you tell them then you speak to them with Tamil and say, this is how Tamil sounds. And this is how Tamil people live. And this is like a magic door. So Sengadal, yes, of course, it was banned by, CBFC. And then I had to go to the tribunal. I had to go to the Supreme Court to get the clearance. But with all my films, I am facing it. And then with all my films, I have got clearance from the tribunal. So when tribunal gets a letter from Leena, they will already know, okay, she has made another film. So, but yes, in India, it went to Panorama, it went to all film festivals, and it went everywhere, but it's almost invisible. So you have Chaitanya Tamhane in India, winning Best Screenplay Award in Venice main competition. Nobody in this country is talking about it. His quote, that's the best of Indian cinema. In my entire life, that's when you say what are the first 5 films, then I will say quote. The quote will be in the top. What is your, only one film you want to say which you like, then I will say quote. Because that's like that. I don't know how to explain. Quote gave us hope that yes, of course, we can still do this kind of cinema in India and we can still be alive. So it gives you hope. It makes you, restores your faith. And that man has gone forward and has done this, Disciple. And then it has gone to the Venice main competition and the entire world is talking about it. And nobody in India cares about it. And this is how independent filmmakers, this is the status of independent filmmakers in India. Nobody cares, nobody gives a shit about us. And when you make a film, they don't give you money. And you beg, borrow, steal, you make your film. And then after you make your film, you will be banned. And you will go to tribunal and you will get it cleared. And after that, they will have extra constitutional censorship. They will send RSS people. They they will send all these fanatics. They will send all this Vanarams, this Sangis, and they will not let us screen the film. And it is just not with right wing. You have Tamil chauvinists who did not let me screen the film, both White Man Stories and Sangadal. So chauvinism is everywhere, but right wing, they have gone to, a different level, different height. We can't even match them. But this chauvinism is everywhere. So at least with constitutional censorship, you can go to tribunal, you can go to court, and we have Ambedkar's Article 19, which you can use it as your constitutional right to fight it out. But with extra constitutional censorship, you have nowhere to go. Like White Man Stories, after it got broadcast in Channel 4, it was picked up by Channel 4. It got broadcast in Channel 4. It was like Channel 4 did an activist screening. The whole week they had a follow-up on this disappearances. Because disappearances is the only protest, only resistance movement going on in Sri Lanka after war. Okay. There is nothing else going on. Politically, they are with this Rajapakse, they don't have a political solution. So the only resistance movement, that movement is led by women. And they are the only people who are raising voice against the totalitarian regime. And they are the only one who are voicing for Tamils, still, if self-determination is still the aspiration of people, Tamils in Sri Lanka, because they haven't attained political freedom in Sri Lanka yet. And that is the truth. So, LTT, if they say LTT is finished, but Tamil struggles are not yet finished. It is still there. Right. So when you do White Man Stories here, the Tamils, the political parties who are capitalizing on Tamil issue, they don't want, people to know that, Tamils are getting disappeared, or, they don't want to know that Sinhalese who help Tamils also get disappeared. So it's like a
That's
difficult thing. I've never had screenings, white one story screenings in Tamil Nadu, but I had it in Channel 4 and all the festivals and stuff. So censorship, cultural, political, constitutional, extra constitutional censorship is that makes you really feel lonely. Like, you
Right.
fight. Yes, of course, you have some channel to fight,
Yeah.
but like, and it also, you feel lonely and you find your partners and you think like, no, you can still go ahead.
Right.
That is also a way of finding your partners. Like when you show solidarity to people, there are somebody who will show solidarity with you,
Right.
like Suchitra, like Pedestrian Pictures, like there are like, there are people, there are artists, there are activists, there are like, people across the world who want you not to feel lonely.
That's true.
But it is the government, it is the authority, it is the industry, it is the the already existing system that will make you feel lonely. That you can't help. And I think, it is a parallel struggle. You feel lonely, you also feel enough embraced by people and communities, so that like you want to go alone again, fight the same fight. So yeah.
So Leena, you constitutional and extra constitutional
There are,
issues.
excuse me, Deepa, there are two mics which are open for you. You should close one.
Oh, how do I do that?
Yeah, I think you should close your mobile connection.
Okay, 1 second.
Keep the laptop connection, close the mobile connection.
How do I close the mobile one?
Yeah. Now you are audible. Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, your films, Parai, Matama, and Sengadal, all of them have been met with a lot of resentment, resistance, etc. But eventually, there have been gestures. For instance, the Human Rights Commission took up Matama very seriously. The district collector took Parai as evidence. The UN High Commission considered Sengadal as witness for violations. And in a way, they have upheld your effort and conviction come your way.
Sorry, Deepa, I'm not able to hear your question. It's jumbled. The voice is really...
Audio got jumbled up in between. You can phrase the question again, please.
So I say that your efforts have been recognized by UN High Commission. The district collector took it as evidence. Are these gestures, do they come to you as reassurance? And as against the shaming, the abuse, the hate that normally come the way of people who make such films?
See, actually, there are two things. You can approach every issue as a law and order problem.
Right.
And you approach the same issue as like to find a political solution. Yeah. So there are two approaches. So yeah, of course, with Parai, like, after a series of struggles, like we went and first when people were raped, when women were raped, nobody was intervening. So we make a video, we go screen that video in every corner, and we go to Human Rights Commission, we go to Women Rights Commission, we go to Dalit Rights Commission, you go to all kinds of commissions, you go to media, you have a press meet of all the women who were raped. Dalit women who were sexually assaulted, you have like a screening where people talk in the film, and also they come to the mic and say like, this is our story, like, what are you guys doing, like, why are you silent, why aren't you like, you have to be with us. Like when women ask those kind of questions, yes, it was like a series of struggles. And after that, district collector, with all these pressures, he gives a thing like, that is definitely an intervention, because even that is not happening. So, but that's a law and order thing. And like, they will easily get a bail in 1 week and they come out. That's what is happening actually. Even when there is a actual abuse, like you go and book them in PCR, nobody is going to trust you. Like, police is not going to trust a Dalit woman who is like going and filing a PCR in the police station. So in reality, all this, yes, of course, we have the law, we have to make the system work. But what is the political solution? So what are we doing with annihilation of caste?
Yeah.
Like even after 80 years, and we are still having this bullshit caste system, and there is no I mean, it is all in the paper, but did caste disappear from our society? Aren't we ashamed of it? Like, why is caste still existent? And why that decides like the political framework of this country, economic framework of this country, cultural framework of this country? Every bullshit framework is determined by caste system. Why? I mean, if you don't question this, and if you go towards getting solution by authorities intervening, putting them in jail, and 90% of jailmates in India are Dalits and Muslims. Do you know that?
Yeah.
So we have to talk about abolition. Without talking about abolition, we are still talking about like a PCR act and booking the people. Yes, I mean, that is there, but we have to have a larger struggle. We have to talk about abolition. We have to talk about like annihilation of caste. We have to try and move the society towards abolishing caste. So, I mean, these films, like, yes, of course, they, put light on the violence based on caste. But why this violence happens is the question I want to take forward with all these films. I mean, my latest film is also on Dalits, among Dalits who are invisibilized and who are unseeables. Like, when you show this film anywhere, they say, even in my own Tamil society, they say, like, does it exist? I mean, does it exist? Like, yeah, of course, like, people just don't want, they just want to close their eyes towards that. Like, they still want to believe like nothing like this happens in our society. Like, everybody is progressive.
For
like
instance,
everything, like we have advanced, we are superpower, whatever. But like there are manual scavengers, there are like invisibilized people, there are unseeables. Like, we don't want to talk about it. And we like want to. So, I mean, in Madati, I went back to our folklore and trying to talk. I am trying to talk about the natural justice. I'm trying to talk about like a world which is possible outside this law and order. Because I'm so fed up. Because I've been working on a docu-feature like since 5 years. It is on the struggles and the lives of Soni Suri, Bavri Devi, Bilkis Banu in Gujarat, and Manorama in Northeast, and Rehnaz in Kerala. So these 5 are protagonists of that film. I mean, I feel like, I have to quit this human race and go to some forest and live as some primitive woman. Like, because I don't know. I mean, you keep doing this and you keep questioning it, and every day you talk about, you read about rape horrors, but like, you have to keep making films also. This whole two world, where you feel hopeless and suddenly like you feel little hope with people, trying to talk about it and people trying to fight it. So in between, you slip between this and that. It is reality. It is not like, yes, I'm going to change the world. Nothing happens like that. So yeah, I mean, and this is going to be a very difficult journey for anybody. For Comrade Suresha, it will be a very difficult journey. For you also, you would have been facing the same difficult journey. So we are all sharing this journey, but like do we have a solution? Do we have an option? We don't have an option. If we don't do this, then we will die. Like,
Deepa has one question.
Leena, how did you get them to agree to give these testimonies in both the films? And when you took the film back to them, and I've read somewhere that you screened it in 400 villages, what was your response? Were they scared? Were they kind of worried about their future?
See, with White Man Stories, I mean, without the consent, you wouldn't have made the films at all, because I
Right.
stayed with the, you know, with the characters.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
so without earning the trust, without, coming to an understanding that we are in the struggle together.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to, I've been doing this all my life. And my first thing is to earn the trust from the people, and make them understand that this is not this actor Vijay film where like he will go and do some action blocks and there will be justice. It's not that, like, because communities haven't seen
Right.
these kind of films. So when you go tell them cinema, then they say like, oh, where is the heroine, so that's how they react. So you start from there, and like you show films to them, and you tell them like, you are the hero, like don't look for a hero outside, you are the hero, you are the heroine, like your story is important, so like I am homeless and I have too many homes. It's both. So, and I'm a root. I don't have roots, but I'm everywhere. So it's that feeling like where you go live with them, share their food, share their plates, share their stories, and tell them like, why can't we like do something together? And like you leave this village, nobody knows about you, but I really want these stories to be heard, and like you talk to them, and whatever I've done, they are all participatory films. So I'm not going to give a rosy picture about it. It's a very difficult journey. It's not like you're always mistrusted because you're also an outsider. But somewhere you have to like walk this, rope walk. It is definitely a rope walk. But like at one point, people are loving. We have to believe that people are good, and we have to love them like whatsoever. So we have to like somewhere make them see their best version of themselves, and and tap the goodness of people, so they will definitely embrace you. So without their embrace, without the love, and without I learned my life from the communities, I told you. So it's not from the PhD, PhD qualified professors or like big academicians or big intellectuals. I didn't learn big books or I mean, you learn from people, right? You learn from community.
Right.
So when you go there with your open
From
heart,
real life.
you will definitely receive love. And it is all about love and mutual respect. If there is mutual respect and love, like we can definitely work with any communities across. Like you go to Amazon forest, you can definitely work with people there. You might not know their language, so you can go to like some island somewhere near New Zealand and Kiribati, and there is a tribal community who are like sinking in ocean because of climate change. So if I decide to make a film with them, I will definitely make a film with them because I know the language of love, and you can build the trust with them. So yes, it is about like you go with. It's not about you going with camera. It is not about you going with anything. Like they don't need your money. They don't need your anything. Like they just need mutual respect, love and compassion. So with that, we can definitely. I mean, these films are all made out of that, and it is also, I mean, they are imperfect. They are not like great. I mean, if you evaluate them with the standards of like all this film aesthetics and the big film critics and like who talk big words, like maybe like this is not the films for them. It is very imperfect, very uncinematic, and very raw and very flawed. But that's how life is, and that's how we live, and that's how that is exactly I want to portray them in cinema, and I'm not beyond them. I'm with them. I'm not above them, I'm with them. That is the clarity we will have to have, like when we start working with the communities. And that's how, like, you know, it's about embrace, love, and mutual respect. So
There is one question from Deepak.
yes.
He says documentaries are about truth. You are approaching your films with a tinge of poetry. How do you handle the thin line of it becoming romanticized or sugar coated? Even as simple as whether to use music or not. What's your thoughts on this? That is the
I
question.
mean, if you see a bunch of films, I'm the last person who romanticize things. If I had romanticized things, I would have been a leading filmmaker now, like making millions of money, like, you know, driving a Benz car and, like, you know, whatever. So I don't romanticize things. I don't believe in technology. I don't believe in everything. I believe in simple human communication. And that simple human communication, if that sounds poetic, then great. I mean, I'm primarily a poet. So, and poetry is about, you know, making the mundane special. So if you make anything like, you know, even when you the gesture, you can make this gesture poetic, you know, by making it special and treating it with love, treating it with compassion. So poetry is all about that. It's like, you know, turning our attention towards the simple things and unattended things, uncared things. So poetry is all about that. So when you start caring about those things that are always ignored, that are always, like, you know, neglected, and that are always like invisibilized, then it turns into cinema. And cinema is nothing but poetry in motion. And people say, like, my poetry is also very raw. It's not at all. It doesn't look like poetry. Some people say my cinema is all that. It doesn't look like cinema. So I mean, that's a constant criticism you get. But this is my language. If you say it's not poetry, or if you say it's not cinema, then I don't care. I don't give a shit. But this is what I have experienced. I want to, like, you know, share it with the world. You accept or you don't accept. You hate me or you love me, I'll be very happy. But if you hate me also, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. So, but this is just something which I want to speak. This is how I communicate with the world. So if you like it, we are in the same path. If you don't like it, we are in different paths. But we can still have a dialogue, right? Like, you know, you can still, I can have a dialogue with you know, Sangi, a proper Sangi. I can definitely have, because I still believe in democracy.
And humanism.
I still believe in dialogue. I still believe in discourse. Otherwise, like, tomorrow we will die. So that's the only hope we have. And yes, I mean, if you think it is romantic, I don't know. I mean, what is romance? And
that's a question asked by Deepak. Actually, in the
Leena. Leena, the one thing that I thought was very fascinating is that most people who tell stories in your films are women. Actually, I want to really know why you take testimonies from women. I was thinking that there is this lady whose daughter has been abducted, and her husband is wounded and lives with him. You didn't choose to talk to the man, but you chose to talk to the woman. Do you believe that women are custodians of memories, relationships, and they have a deeper bonding with this universe? The other thing that I thought was very fascinating is this person, Rosemary. She's deeply empathetic and deeply courageous. She's also deeply religious. In very strange ways, I found her as a version of you. So I am just wondering if you can talk about why you talk to women particularly.
See, I'm currently writing a series of articles on women filmmakers in cinema. The first article went for publication. It is on Agnes Varda. So last 1 month I've been spending watching all her films, and wrote a 3,000 word article. I would like to write a book about her, but I could only write this. So I sent it and even with Agnes Varda, she's the mother of new wave cinema. She made her first film in I think 54. And then the first wave cinema comes in 1958 with Godard and like Truffaut and like she's been completely sidelined. And only in the 80s, all these feminists and theoreticians and critics, they came and they fought for it. And they said like, because they said the first film which she made, it's called La Côte, I think. So it was made in a fishing community, same like Sengadal. She made with the fishing community and she made it in Harbour City, south of France. So then it was edited by a big writer called Raine. Like, how do you pronounce it? I don't know. Raine. So they say like, yeah, this film was edited by Raine and nobody spoke about Agnes Varda. So it took like, she made this film 1954 and it got a commercial release in 2007. Can you believe it? Yeah. So I'm also waiting like for another 100 years for
for a commercial release of your film.
Yeah, so like with Agnes Varda, and she's getting throughout her career, none of her film got a jury prize or any prize in Cannes. Cannes is happening in France, and she's a French filmmaker, prolific filmmaker. She has made some 70. I got a lot of grey watching her films, like so many films. So like she's prolific and she's constantly sidelined. And only after Vagabond, I think Cleo 5 to 7, like it was shown in Cannes, but it didn't win an award. But they had to give her a honorary award. Like later when she's like 70s and she had to get a honorary Oscar. So like, see, women's work is not getting anywhere acknowledged. I mean, people say, yeah, there are many women filmmakers now, but what is our place now? What is our percentage? So if this is the case, if there is no authorship for women, so who is going to tell women's stories? Yeah. I mean, men who are the, fathers of cinema. There are no fathers without mothers, yeah. There are no fathers without mothers. So the fathers of cinema, they say like they were born not out of women's womb. They were born out of somewhere else. And they don't want women to be there in any space. So the same thing applies to the communities. You go to the communities, nobody, like for example, a censor board officer, the census officer goes to a fisherman village, or some health officer goes to fisherman village. They don't go and talk to women. They talk to men. Yeah. So nobody talks to them because kitchen is a slum within a family. Like it is a women is a Harijan. Women is a Dalit within the family. Yeah. So, nobody talks about their life. Like, what do we do in our kitchen? And what is our personal life? Like, what do we do? Many of our, life experiences are considered, you have to hush us about it. You can't even talk about it. Your own life experiences. You can't even talk about it. And sexual harassment, even after Me Too movement, nothing is happening in India. Like still rape is a bad word. You cannot talk about it. Sexual harassment, like the moment you talk about sexual harassment, you are a slut. So, there are life experiences which we are not able to share with the world. And in the entire Indian cinema history, I would say like at least 90% of cinemas made, they turned their back to women's lives. There is nothing like, they show them as commodity, they show them as somebody's belonging, and they show their lives that there is no female gaze at all in Indian cinema. Like there is censor board who says like you hurt their sentiments, you hurt this sentiments. Like I asked censor board officer, every film made in India hurt women's sentiments. Go ban them. Every film made in India, and more than 90%, I would say 99%. It's an insult to any woman living in this country, the way they portray women. Then we all have to say, ban this film. I hate saying even that. I hate the word ban. Yeah. So, but every film, everything made insults us like they like, you know, laugh at us. You know, I cringe watching these films, but still these films are made. So when I get a chance to make a film, rarely you get a chance because nobody wants you to make a film. Like if Leena stops making films, nobody is going to bother. You know, they will go ahead with their life. But still, like you make this film because you have this, you know, little chance of, you know, sharing a story of a woman whom you know, whom you know, came across in your life, and whom you think like, you know, her story is important. So nobody says a woman in this world that you are important. Nothing says, like the system, culture, art, cinema, politics. Nobody thinks a woman is important. But at least women filmmakers, we want to share women's stories and keep the gaze at them, you know, to make them heard and make their existence significant and valuable.
Yeah.
There's
Deepa,
a, there's a question from Uday, I think.
yeah.
Shall I read it out, Leena?
Yeah.
We see that religion as reason for civil war in Sri Lanka. I see a similar situation in Myanmar. The majority are taught from childhood that this country belongs to only one religion. What is your thoughts on Yadum Ure, Yavarum Kair? We are world citizens and everyone are my relatives.
Yeah, I mean, we have this great saying in Tamil, Yadam Ure Yavrum Kere. And as, I mean, culturally, Tamils, we want to practice it. But like, we still practice caste system. And we still have like 100,000 Kudirai Vannar families in Tamil Nadu who are considered unseeable. Even seeing them is sin.
Correct.
So they can't come out when the sun is out.
In the day, yeah.
When the sun is out.
Yeah.
So, yes, I mean, we have Tirukurals, we have like, you know, I mean, we can say like we Tamils are, we can be ethnocentric and we can say we have these many epics, these many poetries written, and we did this, we had the most civilized, you know, language, and all this we can say, like they say like we, you know, excavated Kiredi and we have this 3,000 years of history. But what is this history, and why is still, you know, one person is not equal to the other person? If your language, if your 3,000 years of history, and if your civilization, and if your ethnocentrism, and if your pride, this pride is the biggest problem. So with this pride, if your pride hasn't made one person equal to the other person, then I really don't want to, you know, be proud about it. And I reject it. Outrightly, I reject it. And you tell me when women are treated equal, when all the genders, you know, we have like now more than 24 genders. So all the genders treated equal, all sexualities treated equal, every person treated equal. When the caste system is abolished, then you say Tamil is great, history is great, Tamil society is great. Then I will sing with you. Now I don't sing with you.
Yeah.
And this what religion is reason for civil war in Sri Lanka. Religion is also one reason, and language is a major reason. Like, you know, they don't see Tamils as Hindus. I mean, that is the narrative what BJP wants to give us.
Correct.
They want to see Tamils as like people who are not, you know, who are not eligible to live there. Like, you know, they have to die. So that is how the Buddhist fanatics are saying. It's not about, see, it's not the normal Sinhalese attitude towards any Tamil. It is a authoritarian government which does that.
State narrative.
Yeah. So it is the, see, like for example, if somebody in America says, oh, BJP is ruling India, so are you a Hindu fanatic? So I mean, this is how you will face, like, you know, I mean, when Trump is ruling America, you can't believe like every American is a you know, stupid, you know, like 250-pound whatever. So like, you know, you can't say that, right? So what happened in Sri Lanka, because it is about the power was always with the Buddhist, you know, fanatics.
Majoritarian.
And, yeah, it is a power thing. It is they made the religion as a tool to annihilate, or tool to like destroy the other people. So, but we have Buddhism was born in India, and Buddhism speaks about Dhamma, and Buddhism speaks like, it's such a beautiful religion. And you go to Sri Lanka and they use Buddhism to like, um,
Massacre.
yeah, like to have to do genocide. It is
Yeah.
actually genocide. People say that it is not genocide. It is definitely a genocide. And you go to Myanmar, oh my God, I did a film on Rohingya refugees here in Tamil Nadu. They have a camp here in Kelambakam. So I did a film on them, a very short film. There were like 26 families. Somehow they arrived in Chennai and they have a camp here in Kelambakam. So even during COVID, I reached out to them and did some COVID relief. So their journey is like, oh my God, like I mean, what they have undergone is like, I think that's the most. You have heard about Rwanda. You are hearing a lot of things, but what Rohingyas are undergoing are like beyond belief, and they are totally. I think the cruelties. 1 week back, there were 2 soldiers. They gave confessions on what they were pushed to do with Muslim refugees. It was in New York Times. So, it is beyond belief. So, what is happening in Sri Lanka? What is happening in Myanmar? And they are just using religion to. And what is happening in India?
Yeah.
Right.
What is happening in India? Like India, it is they are using religion to like divide people, and they don't want. They just want. CAA and CAA, like so many things they are bringing because they want to just erase Muslims from this country. So they want to make this country a Hindu country. India is known for its diversity. Without plurality, India is nothing. India is just, soil, nothing. There is no soul for India without diversity. But this is what this Hindu terrorist government wants to do it. Nobody talks about Hindu terrorism. Nobody talks about Hindu. What happened to, Gauri? What happened to what is happening with all this Bhima Koregan activists? They're all like in the COVID relief, like they have put every activist inside the prison. And what has happened to Varavara Rao, like an 80-year-old poet? Is he creating danger to this country? Like, what are they saying? So this is bizarre. I think after independence, this is the first time yes, of course, Indira Gandhi's notorious emergency is there, but I think activists are thrown into jails like anything, like in this regime. So what is happening here? It is Hindu totalitarian regime that is happening. So yeah, this is what. And God save America. What is happening in America? So you constantly say whatever is happening is because of Islam, but we have these millions of people in India and in Sri Lanka and in Myanmar. We have voted a Hindu terrorist party to come to rule. And we are talking about Islam terrorism. It is just like, it is just like, turning the mirror and saying like, you are terrorist. Like, we have voted, we have democratically voted. This India has voted, they are like Hindu terrorists. They have voted them to power. And Sri Lankans have voted Buddhist terrorists to power. So, and Trump, what is he? He's a Christian fascist. So, religion is the worst abin that the mankind has. Marx has told us. Like, you have to again go back to Marx and go back to Periyar and that is sadly that is the situation here. And humanity is the only, hope.
I have one last question, Leena. It's a while since you made Sengadal and White Van stories. When you look back at those films, do you think you've made a significant journey ahead of those times? Has your politics changed now? If you made those films now, would you make them differently?
No, my politics is always I'm with people. And I mean, at every at this moment, I pulse, my pulse beats with the people. So in 2011, that was me, and I was pulsating with people, with their sentiments, with what they face. That is my film is my way of showing solidarity with whom I want to show my solidarity. So even now, if you have maybe my craft wise, it would have been different because you keep practicing and maybe but like perception wise, politics wise, like I strongly think that I was at the right side. I'm still at the right side, and I mean, maybe Sangi can say you are at the wrong side, but you know, maybe I mean, there are people who can say that you are at the wrong side, but like throughout throughout my art practice, I use art to be uh, with people whom I emote and whom I think, you know, I have to be with them. So that is my gesture. Like, you know, I know to make films, I know to write, and I'm doing it because if I had guns, I would have killed whom I wanted to kill. Or if I had like, you know, you know, if I had a government, I would have changed things. I don't have all these things. So I only know to make films.
Well,
I only know to write. So I do that to be with those people.
no, if people were sensitive enough, your film is the gun.
And like I'm
But
also non-violent because I only make films and write poems. So the moment you give me something else, then I become violent.
So here is Uday. He's asking you if you'd give him an opportunity to work with you. I like your boldness and film approach towards the social problem.
See, every time there are like bunch of people who say like, I want to work with you. See, working with me is like, you don't have, we don't have money. we only share resources. It's not like you will not be paid, but you will be paid like how anybody will be paid in the industry. So we are only sharing resources. There is no boss who will give you salary or whatever. It's like we have one loaf of bread, we cut it to how many pieces, like whoever we are together, and we eat it. So but here I mean, that is something that is very primitive, and that's how, like, you know, I work. I imagine myself as a primitive mother, you know? So like, you know, that's how I work. So if you want to be a part of that experience, you can always come. And if you want to see superheroes and, you know, buses flying and, like, you know, songs and, like, you know, lies and, like, you know, colors, and that's not something I do. But if you like what I do, and if you want to be part of my journey, it is a very lonely journey. Nobody is going to appreciate you, and everybody wants to ban you, and they might even want to kill you, because now these times, like, you know, people get killed, like, you know what happened to Gauri Lankesh. So you know what happened to Dabholkar. So you know, this is how the times are. So I mean, we might be receiving love, but it is very little. But it is love. So like, if you're game with this, you're welcome. You're always like welcome to, you know, come and join my army.
There is one more question by one Mr. Deepak. Apart from CBFC intrusion, is it a far cry in India to have a separate distribution and exhibition for independent films?
Yes, definitely. See, people say you have now Netflix, you have, like, I mean, the existing theatrical system, they don't want you. Even the films made with budgets, you know, you need a budget more than the budget you made film to, like, make yourself visible in the theatrical industrial scene. You go to festivals. Festivals are also now becoming more, like Z is making an independent festival film. And Sun Studios is making an independent festival film. I don't know. I really can't understand what is independent about studios making these films.
That's
So
the
you go to
irony.
film festival, and then Venice is showing a film made by Z Studios, and they say it's an independent film. I really don't understand this. So festivals are also becoming, all corporates are they now want to make festival films. They want to win national awards. They want to win or whatever. But festivals or were meant to show non-industrial films, independent films, films that are not made for profits, films that are just made for the purpose of art. So, but now festival spaces are also changing, and theatrical system is already not there. Nobody wants to show you a film. And in India, broadcast, no. I mean, only after theatrical, only after you get this many returns or whatever, you get a broadcast, and nobody wants to show. There is no Doordarshan who was that was showing, independent films. That too, NFDZ made independent films. That is actually state-made films, but that were called independent films. So films that are made purely for making films, we don't have a place to show. Only Suchitra Film Society is showing my films. So otherwise, I have to go to village and show my films. And Netflix, Amazon Prime, all these OTTs, they come to India like, you come to India, you eat noodles that are made with Indian masala. The same thing, Netflix India becomes something else. Netflix US is for independent films, but Netflix India is something else. They want stars, they want known faces, they want big studios, they want big names. They don't want indies. They treat indies as outcasts.
Yeah.
Especially indies. Indies actually were indies. It's not like industry indies who you put up a face as indies. So the actual indies, nobody wants. So, but we still, we were there when nobody was there. We will be there when nobody was there. So we will be there. So we will find ways. We have like Suchitra Film Society. Like when I was in my school, my father was with the Film Society. I was seeing some Fellini films in Film Society. Nobody else showed me Fellini films. When I go to theaters, you only see like Rajinikanth films. So there are film societies now with the digital revolution. Every small village, every small taluk, they have film societies. They are showing films in DVDs, in rooms, and if you want to see those films, you will definitely see those films. Yeah, so it is with us. It is because if I want to see Agnes Varda's films, being a honorary Oscar winner, none of her films are available to watch.
Yeah.
You will have to go everywhere, talk to people across the world, get the files, to even watch their films. See, before as a engineering student, I wanted to watch Mrinal Sen, but Mrinal Sen, I can only go to film society screenings or some, I can't see them otherwise. Otherwise you have to take an appointment, go to film
film archives,
Pune archives, and watch it. So you're not a film student. You don't have. So this will be the situation ever. If you are going to make films against power, against the system, against the status quo, you will be constantly, masked, and nobody wants your films to be seen. But this is also why we make films. You have to keep breaking walls and showing it, and there will be definitely spaces to show, like how we showed Sengadal and White Man Stories yesterday and today.
Yeah. There is one more question from Deepak. You are making films about the marginalized people. The cinema they are exposed to would be the mainstream films, which fail to represent them or misrepresent them. Are they being intimidated or even feared that you may exploit them?
This is a constant question that independent filmmakers make. They say Satyajit Ray, he made some poverty porn and all that. Okay, if Satyajit Ray hasn't made Apu's trilogy, how we would have heard about Apu's stories, people always say this, and people always tell, when I first like made documentaries, like I made DVDs, and you're supposed to, distribute it for free. If you say like pay some money and buy it, then you say you are making films on issues and you are selling it. Like if I want to make profits, then this is not something which I will be doing. It's so easy to do, the films that is making profits. See, this whole thing is like, it's a very what to say, it's a very authority created opinions on independent filmmakers. So it's very cliched. Ask me some other questions. Like last 15 years I've been answering this, and in the last 15 years I don't have a house to own. I don't have I don't have a property on my name, registered on my name. You have to find it. So like, and I still find ways to go ahead, and because uh, I mean, see, if you want to make profits out of people's issues, then you should be with some CSR or with MNC companies, and then you should be doing something like that. But till now, I mean, I have definitely worked with NGOs before. I have worked with companies doing CSR activities. I have done all that, only to know that is not the way to go. That is not the way to go. So I did that and I learned it. And since all my work so far I have done, like Madati is a crowdsourced film, and it's a people participatory film. And even if you tap money from the surplus, and that is what Marx also ask you to do, like, tap that surplus money and use it to people who need it. So if my films don't get distributed, if my films don't get don't get into theatrical thing, if my films are not seen anywhere, where am I making money? So like Suchitra and Pedestrian Pictures are not giving me money for showing their films. Because Suchitra itself is a member-driven society, and Pedestrian Pictures itself is a member-driven society. And I am also I am driven by my passion. I'm doing it, and I'm trying to find resources to make it. So you don't even want to pay for it.
Yeah.
And who is exploiting who?
Yeah.
Suresh, how much time do we have? Is it time to close?
Yeah, so we have almost crossed 1 hour 15 minutes. I think it is. It may go above the head if we speak beyond this. If you have something but I wanted to make one specific point. I was very, very happy to see the metaphors that were used in Sengadl with the tortoise. The protagonist trying to leave the tortoise back into the ocean. It is so very lonely going back to the ocean for that tortoise, and that madman who is with a transistor. And most of the times he's searching for a network to hear whatever he wants to hear. And he's always with children. And at the end of the film, he is not to be seen, and only his transistor is playing some song in a boat. These metaphors, they were really, the most of the film is so very docu kind of a narrative. While this was so very cinematic, it arrested my mind. I wanted to specifically talk to you and say that it was a very good use of the metaphor in this Sengadl. And even in White Van Stories, the use of narration, from one story to the other, there is a voice which talks about what happened with a documentary archival material, and then you go to the one person and you start make her, that specific person, talk about her story. The use of the docu material in between, it is not just a relief, it is the continuation of what has been spoken, but it becomes cinema because of that. all these things have to be appreciated. So what has to be appreciated also has to be conveyed. I was very happy because whatever struggles you are going through, the same kind of struggles even I am going through with my films. It is never released, and even if we release it, it does not stay beyond 2 or 3 shows in a theater, and it is not even taken by some satellite channel or a OTT platform. It is always a toil for anybody who wants to make a film on the status quo that is there around us. And if you want to talk, if you want to be an activist through filmmaking, you have set a model for all of us. We should try to continue in that path. Any which way, Deepa, if you have any other final questions, you can.
No, I think we can close, but I just want to say that I really admire your courage and ability to speak the truth.
Yeah.
And I hope you will grow in strength and be with you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Leena.
From Suchitra Film Society, formally, once again, I thank you for providing us the film, and we will also try to a small token amount of money will be sent to your bank account. Of course, we will collect all that through our WhatsApp and other email, everything. We will try to send you a token of amount as an honorarium for giving us these films, not for providing this to Suchitra, for giving this society, the whole society of India, this kind of films. We will try to support you in a small way. And of course, Deepo and myself will be talking to you with regard to that. Once again, we thank you for participating in this online discussion, giving your valuable time at a time when you are shifting your home and you are in a chaos, and you're also doing a film. The whole crew is waiting downstairs. We wish all your films a good journey, a healthy journey. Though there will always be a lot of people who might pelt stones at you, or they might even throw a grenade at you. Hold all that, stand firmly, and do what you wish to do. All the very best to your future journey. Let us keep meeting again and again at Suchitra Film Society. Whenever you come to Bangalore, Suchitra Film Society can be your other home. Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Deepu.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Deepa.
Thank you.
Thank
Once
you.
again, I
Thanks
thank
a lot.
Thank you, everyone.
Pedestrian
Thanks everyone
Pictures.
who watched the films, who actually made time to send questions, who made time to be here. Cinema is a capitalistic tool. Nobody rents camera, for free, or nobody could do anything for. I mean, this is a capitalistic setup, and we are trying to, reverse that and make it. Reverse the whole thing and use a tool for the betterment of, and that is not, the money is not the whole what aim of currency is not to help people, but we have to make of that currency and help people. So it's like the whole act of making film itself is act of resistance.
Yeah.
So that is what we are doing, and that is what film societies are doing. I have run a film society myself, and like how we beg, borrow, steal to like make films. Film societies beg, borrow, steal to screen films. So please use the money whatever you collect for for this event towards the society, and please don't send anything to me. But I just was explaining the person who was answering me, like why profit and whatnot. Like the moment there is investment, everybody like you invest 200 rupees and somebody's expecting some 2,000 rupees out of it, and that's how capital works. And we are all trying to use art against that capital, but we have to use that capital and use it against it. So that is where we are all committed to. And thank you for this opportunity to, yes, of course, our lives are all chaos. So every time, like I can say tomorrow there will be a reason because I'll be in another middle of another chaos. So that's fine. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Leena.
Thank you, Deepu, once again for providing these films.
Yes, thank you, Deepu. Love you, Deepu.
Thanks, Deepa Ganesh, for
Thank you.
anchoring the whole thing. Thank you.
Thank you.